Welcome back to the best book ever. Last week, we met the family of Elimelech and heard what happened to them in Moab. Today, we're continuing to read about Ruth and Naomi. How will they survive in a land that valued sheep more than single women? Ruth chapter 2, the NIV translation. Now, Naomi had a relative on her husband's side, a man of standing from the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone whose eyes I find favor." Naomi said to her, "Go ahead, my daughter." So she went out, entered a field, and began to glean behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. Just then, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. "The Lord be with you." "And the Lord bless you," they answered. Boaz asked the overseer of his harvesters, "Who does that young woman belong to?" The overseer replied, "She's the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, 'Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters.' She came into the field and has remained here from morning till now, except for a short rest in the shelter." So Boaz said to Ruth, "My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting, and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you. And whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." At this, she bowed down with her face to the ground. She asked him, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner?" Boaz replied, "I have been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wing you have come to take refuge." "May I continue to find favor in your eyes, my lord," she said. "You have put me at ease by speaking so kindly to your servant, though I do not have the standing of one of your servants." At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come over here, have some bread and dip it in the wine vinegar." When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted, and had some left over. As she got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his men. "Let her gather among the sheaves. Don't reprimand her. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles, and leave them for her to pick up. Don't rebuke her." So Ruth gleaned in the field until evening. Then she threshed the barley she had gathered, and it amounted to about an ephah. She carried it back to town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gathered. Ruth also brought out and gave her what she had left over after she had eaten enough. The mother-in-law asked, "Where did you glean today? Where did you work? Oh, blessed be the man who took notice of you." Then Ruth told her mother-in-law about the one whose place she had been working. "The name of the man I worked with today is Boaz," she said. "Oh, Lord bless him," Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. "He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead." She added, "That man is our close relative. He's one of our guardian redeemers." Then Ruth the Moabite said, "He even said to me, Stay with my workers until they have finished harvesting all my grain." Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter-in-law, "It will be good for you, my daughter, to go with the women who work for him, because in someone else's field you might be harmed." So Ruth stayed close to the women of Boaz to glean until the barley and wheat harvests were finished, and she lived with her mother-in-law. How astounding is our God! It may have been normal in any of the surrounding nations for the poor and destitute to glean behind the harvesters, but here we find out about God's provision for the poor. Normally, the farmers in Moab would have harvested all the grain and then returned to pick up any ears that had been missed before allowing the poor to search for the rubbish they left behind. But God made a law, recorded in Deuteronomy 24, to ensure the farmers left enough grain for the poor to gather. The law was not give a portion of your harvest to the poor, but leave the gleanings and the grain at the edge of the field, so the poor can work to gather the food they need. Or, to put it another way, show the poor respect by giving those who are poor through no fault of their own the opportunity to provide for themselves and their family with honor. We also see God's provision in sending Ruth to Boaz's field. As it states, in any other field, you could be harmed. Ruth is set in the time of the judges, when people did as they liked, and this included beating up and even killing foreigners, just because they were foreign. Thankfully, Boaz liked to obey God, and this included showing respect and humanity to everyone, even foreigners who may have otherwise had no help, protection, or legal status. I can't relate to this part of the story well, as I've never tried to live long-term in a different culture where I need to change everything to be safe. I imagine it must have been as much of a culture shock to Ruth as if I were moved to China or Japan. What do you think? Please like, comment, subscribe, and share on social media to spread the blessing. I'll see you next time. God bless you.